Hey, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. We're continuing our series of episodes featuring authors from the book Mission Hope, a book organized by Shar Murphy. Hi, Shar. And from Dominic Damaski, publisher extraordinaire from Motivation Champs. Mission Hope is a book with 18 authors, and we've had a chance to sit down with some of the authors from the book, get a little background on their chapter and what they added to this book. And what I love is these people are living the next chapter. Oh, there it is, the name of the podcast. And we get to hear their stories as part of our discussion today. And Johanna's with us today, and we're going to be listening to her story. Powerful, what she's overcome and how hope has helped her find a way. And she shares her story and a few thoughts here. It's a little snippet from the episode, and we're going to jump in right after this. Here's a little bit from Johanna.
I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, when I was in my 30s, and I'm 71. So it was 35 years ago. And it hit me like a Mack truck. And the doctor told me I would need to put bars on my walls and learn to hang on to get around, because I was just not going to be able to make it. I was in such bad shape. So I really didn't want that kind of a future for myself. I had two little girls. They were 5 and 9 at the time. So it had me pretty scared, to tell you the truth. You know, I didn't know whether or not I was going to make it or not. And I found out through a friend, there were no treatments at that time in the 80s when I got diagnosed. So there wasn't anything available. Prednisone made me feel like my head was going to explode. And it didn't make me feel any better. And that was all they had. And so a friend told me about a treatment in Germany. And I went to Germany for a week and came back walking. So my family was really impressed. And I had many, 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 many good years where I was on my feet and able to raise my kids. And I just am so grateful that the doctor's opinion of me at the time was not going to be what I had to live through. So.
Okay, everyone, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I have another one of Shar Murphy's amazing authors, a part of this new book called Mission Hope. And I'm excited to talk to my guest today. First time on a podcast, everyone do the clap, the applause. Yay! First time guest on a podcast. I'm so happy to have Johanna on with me today. Nice to see you. Hello, welcome to your first ever podcast.
Yep, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited.
It's great. I'm so happy to have you here. This is really, really fun. So you are part of a project with Shar Murphy. The book is Mission Hope. Can you tell me, how did you connect with Shar Murphy to be a part of this book?
Well, we started talking on LinkedIn, and I bought her book to learn a little bit more about her and her incredible journey that she's had with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And we discovered we had a lot in common. And then she asked me if I wouldn't be willing to write something to put in this chapter after she found out more about my journey and see if it might help somebody else. So that's what I have attempted to do. And I just am so grateful to Shar for making it possible to have a book that has so many different kinds of stories that will give people hope in the future.
It's great. And I've talked to many of the authors so far. Each of you are so inspiring, and the stories behind your chapters are just amazing. Really great people. So thank you for being part of the book, first of all, and helping Shar to pull this together. It's amazing to see the stories, and I can't wait for this book to be out in public where we can all grab a copy and we can go through each chapter. Can you tell us a little bit of a background to you and your story that Shar connected with?
I was I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, when I was in my 30s, and I'm 71.
Wow.
So it was 35 years ago. And it hit me like a Mack truck. And the doctor told me I would need to put bars on my walls and learn to hang on to get around because I was just not going to be able to make it. I was in such bad shape. So I really didn't want that kind of a future for myself. I had two little girls. They were 5 and 9 at the time.
Mm.
So it had me pretty scared, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether or not I was going to make it or not. And I found out through a friend there were no treatments at that time in the 80s.
Wow.
When I got diagnosed. So there wasn't anything available. Prednisone made me feel like my head was going to explode, and it didn't make me feel any better. And that was all they had.
Mm-hmm.
And so a friend told me about a treatment in Germany, and I went to Germany for a week and came back walking.
Wow.
So my family was really impressed. And I had many, 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 many good years where I was on my feet and able to raise my kids. And I just am so grateful that the doctor's opinion of me at the time was not going to be what I had to live through.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's amazing. So you went and got help, and that must have been a very difficult decision to go away and seek treatment like that.
Well, it was, but I did speak German, so that was in my favor. I didn't know how I was going to make it because I couldn't walk at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like wheelchair to the airport, into the plane, and then coming out, being wheeled to the hospital, and then having help at the hospital to get me into the hospital. So it was a little bit, it was an adventure. I really didn't know what to expect and whether or not it was going to work. I was hopeful at the time, and it worked for me. I got it at the right time. Unfortunately, the treatment that I was on, it has not been, has not completely kept me on my feet for 35 years. The last 10 years have been a little bit more difficult, but I was able to raise my family. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. So was that treatment then early in your diagnosis then?
2 years after.
2 years. Okay. So yeah, your children were young at that age too then. Yeah. So when Shar reached out to you to write in this book and share your story as part of this group of amazing 18 authors, did you feel right away that, yes, I really want to do this? Or were you a little bit wondering if your message could really help somebody?
I hope my message could help somebody.
Nice.
I didn't know for sure. I don't think I'm not from the people that I have met that have MS. And when I was first diagnosed back in 86 and I went to a group, all of those people are dead.
Mm.
And I'm still here.
Yeah.
So I've obviously done something. Something right.
Yeah. So the idea behind writing in this book then is to share your story and help others. Is that kind of your idea?
And not to be a victim about it. The title of it is Not a Victim. Mm-hmm. Is that I took a completely to those groups that they have for different illnesses or ain't it awful groups.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was I didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah. No, you went a totally different direction then. Right.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's amazing to hear that in your chapter. Again, we're not giving away the chapter because people are going to go buy the book. That's the idea. So please, but and we appreciate you buying the book. But in the chapter, did you write the chapter for an audience, like a certain person, or did you write the chapter from your point of view to share your story?
Well, I shared my story and how I got to how I reached the point of view that I had.
Yeah.
About how I was dealing with it. And I'm hoping that might help somebody else. Because the truth is, everybody that goes through life has something thrown at them.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be as devastating as what I've had to go through, over that many years.
Yeah.
But there are things that always happen to people that they don't expect. And so how they respond to that, hopefully, from what I've written will help them.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful thing too, because there's the chance to leave legacy. And when you write a book, you can put your words out there and not only share your story, but help people in the process, right? That come to the book and find inspiration from reading your words. That's pretty powerful that your story can help somebody.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. There are, I talk to people and I'm anxious to read the other stories because I know everyone that has written a chapter in the book of trauma and survived it.
Right. Amazing.
And so that, I'm hoping that it'll be a guide for someone. May not be necessarily what I've gone through, but through whatever they've gone through.
Yeah.
That they'll have some hope and some perspective.
And what I love too is the fact that Shar has pulled this book together. It's a collection of stories, right? So I'm interested to see the thread that is woven through every story as you read from cover to cover, and see how all these different stories from people around the world all fit together for one message of hope. And I'm really curious to see how this is all going to turn out. I'm excited to see it, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to get a copy of it.
So do you have any contact with any of the other authors to date?
Not really. I have communicated a little bit, some of the authors, but I have not heard their story. I really don't know what everybody has to say. So it's going to be a big surprise for me.
I love it. I love it. That's nice that it's going to be a surprise for you as well.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So one thing I've been asking all of the authors that come on in celebration of the book is if you had a message directly for Shar. So pretend I'm not even here and it's you and Shar.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to say to Shar from your perspective to encourage her?
Well, Shar, I am most grateful that you thought I was worthy of being a part of the book and that my story might help somebody. And I am inspired by her, what she's lived through and how she has managed to really thrive in spite of everything that she has lived through and come out the other side. Is a real testament to who she is. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. And I sense that when I'm talking to you, Johanna, it just you just radiate gratitude and love, and I'm sure your story is going to mean so much to people. And I want to thank you for being part of the book, for being vulnerable, and for allowing yourself to share your story, right? It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So the book will be coming out soon, Johanna. And what are you going to do when you receive your copy for the first time? What are you going to do?
Probably read it.
Right away?
Yeah, find out what the other authors had to say. The thing that I'm having a little bit of trouble is I've never done anything like this. And, how do you get the word out?
Right.
So that people are truly interested and can be inspired. so that I reach the right audience of people that are open to being inspired.
Yeah. Just sharing it with your community, with your family and your friends. There's built-in curiosity because they know you, they love you, and they want to support you because of who you are.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. So that's where I would start, is just sharing it with your family, and I'm sure they're going to be buying their copies, and this is a treasure for them as well to have your words documented like this.
Yeah, I think not even my family, at least besides my immediate family, they have no idea what the journey has been about.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you committed to do this, and you wanted to help Shar, and you wanted to contribute. That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
So the book will be out soon. We'll have links in the show notes for your book, and you're part of this book. And again, I just want, on behalf of Shar and all the other 17 authors, again, I can vouch for these people. They are amazing, and I've had a chance to talk to most of them so far. And you're in great company. Your chapter is going to fit in there perfectly with everyone else. So thank you for being a part of this. And I know this is a new experience for you to talk to some guy in Canada on his podcast. But I hope that I can help share your message by being on this show. So thank you for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's great.
I appreciate it very much.
All right, everyone, please make sure you go check out the show notes for Mission Hope, Shar Murphy's book with 18 inspirational authors and 18 great stories. And Johanna's one of those chapters. You're going to have to read this for sure. Thank you for being part of our podcast, Johanna. Hey, thanks for being here for the podcast Mission Hope, Thriving Through Seasons of the Soul. Came out March 24th, 2023. 18 amazing authors, all corralled by the amazing Shar Murphy. If you need some inspiration in your life, please go to the show notes, follow the links, go purchase the book, gift it to someone, buy copies and leave it in your waiting rooms of businesses or the dentist office. Just go out and buy the book and support these great authors, many first-time authors, first-time podcast guests. A lot of firsts happening here. Shar Murphy, thank you. Dominic Damaski, publisher as well from Motivation Champs. Thank you so much for bringing together these amazing people, and to have these authors on a podcast here to talk about their chapters is so great. So encouraging you, go out, check out Mission Hope, Thriving Through Seasons of the Soul. Get your copy today. Thanks for being part of the podcast. Catch you on the next one.